Hi, I'm Uttara Neli Lozej. Today I'd like to speak about hips being tight. Often people feel like their hip muscles are tight. One way you can figure that out for yourself is if you take a ball, kind of tennis ball or lacrosse ball, and just push your hips back into the wall and roll the ball around. Usually it feels really good. It helps to release some of the tension that builds up. And also make sure that you turn on the side, the gluteus medius muscle, and you take the ball a little bit lower, the tensor fascial lata muscle attachments, and you can just work out some of that density that accumulates. Now, why do hips get tight? Largely we spend part of the day sitting down. And here, if you're slouching especially, but the hips, the glutes are not doing anything but becoming compressed. So naturally, they become a little weaker and they'll kind of stiffen up because when you stand up, those muscles have to support you. But all day they've been doing nothing. So then they'll tighten up to help you to stand upright. Another factor is when you're seated, and especially if you're leaning forward a little bit, the hip flexors when you stand will be short and tight. So you can't actually fully extend the hips. You can't stand up straight properly. So what happens is you start leaning forward and always staying a little bit hanging forward. That would be forward posture. In that case, if you just stand up tall for a moment, lean forward, and notice how the back of your legs, the calves, they have to tighten up to help you so that you don't fall on your face, okay? So if we can make the glutes stronger, the glutes will engage and essentially pull you upright and take the load out of your calves and arches. One exercise that I like to do to strengthen and also release the hips is a hip hinge with a weight. I'll demonstrate with a kettlebell. You can use any weight, even a water bottle or a can of food, a can of soup, but the grip should be like this if it's a dumbbell. And if it's a kettlebell, I prefer this overhand grip, like this, okay. We're going to do this just as a hold initially. If you don't have a weight, fine, but I would suggest we maybe practice together. Just stand nice and tall. The toes are angled out in the same direction as the hips. The legs are quite wide. Stand upright and bring the shoulder blades back. Try to straighten the arms the best you can so your triceps are engaged. Yeah, and just hold there. Okay. Ideally, we'd hold for maybe 30 seconds. This would be the top of a deadlift. Then push the hips back. Don't bend the knees. Hips back. Keep the hips shifting back. The weight should travel vertically right down in between the heels in that direction. You don't have to go very low, but just that action itself will activate the glutes. So again, you're standing tall, the weight is back, pull towards you, toes are angled slightly out, spread your toes, press them into the floor, push the hips back, keep the weight traveling vertically, just down in the direction between the heels and stay there. You can go a little lower, you can be a little higher, whatever works for you. Now I'm just going to hold out here. Look down on a diagonal to the floor so the chin is tucked. Keep your toes pressing into the floor. Keep the knees pushing away from each other. Keep the shoulders back. And here you'll notice all the tension. You're building up the strength in the body, strengthening your legs, strengthening your upper back and glutes. Really focus on using the muscles in your butt. That's good. Now squeeze your glutes together and stand up. Good. And if you'd like to perform repetitions, same action, then push the hips back just a bit, keep the hips going back, keep the weight back, let the knees bend naturally, squeeze your glutes together, come up. Again, hips back. A set of 20 I like to do, squeeze your glutes to come up and make sure you get right to the top. The finished position, again, stand tall, engage your glutes firmly, slightly tuck the pelvis. Make sure you feel that the glutes are engaged. If they don't engage fully, then your lower back will take the load. So always make sure hips protect lower back, shoulder blades a little back, beautiful posture we all have. And put the weight down, hips back, the weight goes down in between the heels. Okay, in that position, you'll strengthen your glutes and help to correct the kind of dysfunction that we get from sitting so much. Again, I'm Uttara Neli Lozej. Please send me an email if you have any questions, anything you'd like addressed. And thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. It's good to see you.